Yeah, Urubuwado. Good evening, every one of you. I'm continuing my series of the Ugbori case. Like I told you, in order for us to understand the Warri problem, we have to take it holistically, without bias. Now, some people coin stories just to win a case in court. That is, their lawyer educate them that this is what you should say in court, so that it will rhyme with the laws of the land. You understand? They just, for example, in those days, we know some people, they use human head to serve their shrine. In those, their gods. If such a person is the chief priest of such a person, if they are to take you to court, you are not going to say, yes, we still serve. It means you put yourself into a problem. So their lawyer will couch the story in such a way that it will rhyme with the law. Now, the reason why I said you should also study Ishekiri history is whether among themselves, whether their story clash with what they said when they came to the Agbasa case. For example, John Anewe said Agbasa people came to Warri around 1866 and met an Olu in the year 1866 who gave them the land. That's the Agbasa case. So we want to know whether that story is consistent among all the Ishekiris. For example, one of the reasons why the Ishekiri lost the Okere case was that Idudu and Daniel Kumagba have gone to court previously before 8 years earlier, where Idudu swore to an oath that he got his land from Idama. That is the Urubu family. The same thing with the second witness, Iwere Odobrike. He said he got his land. His father is Ishekiri, but his mother is Urubu from Igbo family. He said he got his land from his mother, not Ishekiri. That his father is from Ode Ishekiri, his father is not from Okere. And so this time around now, he said that he said he got his land from Ogisi, his mother's people. And then they just showed him his previous case. But in this case, this is what you said, though. And that is why the judge said they are not witness of truth, that they lie, that they fabricate story easily, and the moment determine their story. Now, in all these cases, if you look at Daniel Kumagba family, their stories are always consistent. Their stories are always consistent. You cannot bring a previous case to come and use it to disprove them. The same thing with some Esiwari. So let us see, because they said that Olu of Warri has overlordship over all the Ishekiri land when they were judging the Agbasa case. And that is how Agbasa now came under the overlordship of and now, the people here is the Omagbemi family of Ewulofu. Now, who was the Omagbemi? Omagbemi is the father of this John Anewe Omagbemi. He died in 1935. Omagbemi actually ought to be the Olu, not Emiko. You know Emiko later became Olu. Now let me explain. When the Olu died in 1848, the administration of the Olu divided into two. You have the political administration, which is mainly business. The chief trader of the white man who collect the komi. The komi means custom duty. When the white men bring ships, when they bring goods, trade, the person collecting all the taxes used to be the Olu before. But now, the people now collecting the komi, were the British appointed governors. That's why you now have the Shanomi, the Mebrimoni, and the Medonuma. They were the administrative head of the people. Then you still have the traditional. Those people cannot perform the sacrifices on behalf of the Shekiri people. They cannot enter the Ugbori shrine to go and perform sacrifice. Only the Olu that can do that. So, the person vested with that power is called the Olotu. He must be a descendant of the Olu. Why the governor can be anybody? For example, Nana was not from the Olu family, from the Ologboshere family. The same thing with Don Onuma, not from the Olu family. Ebrimoni himself was even a slave. So, and that was why there was a clash between the house of the Olu and the house of the Ologboshere for a very long time. They don't see. The Ologboshere controlled the Benin River, where the trade is taking place. Why the Olu family controlled the Shekiri area. And it was the Olu family that time that asked you to call that, look, if the Warri Township you are saying is Olu land, then it is us that will collect the land. But after Don Onuma died, the Shekiri nation decided to have an Olu again. And this time around, while they were fishing for the Olu, that was when Agbasa appealed the case to the appeal court. So they needed somebody who we use to substitute for John Onuma. As at that time, the Olu family, the head was Omagbemi. And that was why the Supreme Court, the Privy Court case in London was not John Onuma versus Agbasa people. It was Omagbemi versus Agbasa people. He substituted John Onuma because he was the Olotu. Unfortunately, he died in 1935. The Olu was cried in 1936. And so, the new Olu, Emiko Akengbuwa, now started as Ginua too. Now, so the founders of Ugbori were princes. They were the grand and great-grandchildren of Olu Akengbuwa. So they must know Ishekiri culture. If somebody from Omagbemi family says that there's no overlordship in Olu, you understand what I'm trying to tell you now? It means a prince is telling you, look, it doesn't exist. This overlordship thing, it doesn't exist. So, because they are the people that are even supposed to tell you that, look, I am Omagbemi, the grandson of Olu Akengbuwa. In Ishekiri land, all land belong to the Olu. He should have said so. Because he is a prince from the Olu family. Like I said, they gave land to the Emikos, Basimi, when he came from Ode Shekiri to build his palace in 1952. Then, when Awolowo now vested the title of Warri Division land on the Olu, that document is what the Olu and the Shekiri Communal Land Trust are now trying not to use to grab every land that is the Olu property. But before Awolowo created the document, the Olu have already leased that place from them. Now they now want to use the document now to take more land down to the John Holt area. And they said, no, we will not agree. And so the matter went to court. So it is not time for them to talk their story. And as usual, they took Urubu person Akpofure to be their lawyer, while the Shekiri Communal Land Trust took Awolowo, the man who created them. You know, Awolowo, I told you, Awolowo is not coming to defend what he created. So, like I said, this is not a court of law. This is a historical perspective based on the raw document for you to understand what actually happened as at that time. Let's merge the story. Now, his own son, Anewe, he was a Christian, sworn on the Bible. I am John Anewe Omagbemi. I live at Ugbori village in Warri Division, pensioner and contractor to Federal Government College. I know the land in dispute in this case. I employ plaintiff witness to survey the land. Exhibit 1 is the plan he made. I went with him on the land. The land in dispute belongs to Ewolofu family of Ugbori. The land was founded by Prince Ewolofu. The place was virgin land when he founded it. It was cleared by Chief Ewolofu. The Ugbori village is shown in Exhibit 1 where I live. Ewolofu founded the village. I am an Ishekiri and a prince, like I told you. My father was a chief and the Olotu of the Ishekiris. I just told you that. Olotu means that at one time he was head of the Olu family. He was a regent. Was he really a regent? You see, that's why I said, even Don Onuma becoming the head of the Ishekiri people did not come from the Ishekiris. It came from the British. The British appointed him because it is the Olotu that is the traditional ruler of the people that they recognize in the absence of the Olu. If not, Omagbemi cannot be a regent and Don Onuma be a regent. It's not possible. Now, an Olotu represent the Olu where there is no Olu. So, who, and you see the complexity now, so who is now the governor? Nana was not an Olotu. Don Onuma was not an Olotu. Shadomi was not an Olotu. Everyone was not an Olotu. These were called governors. They were British appointed administrator. Now, why the Olotu is the traditional one performing the sacrifices? Now, I am 62 years old. That's when they had the case. I was born in 1913. I know Ishekiri custom in relation to land tenure. According to Ishekiri native law and custom, families own land in Warri division. There are many families in Ishekiri that own lands by founding land by themselves. The Olu of Warri is overlord of Ishekiri people, but not overlord of lands founded by individual families. So I don't know where your overlordship are coming from. This is the son of an Olotu. Olotu, a descendant, a grandchild of an Olu. Saying now, the Olu owns the Ishekiri people, but not lands founded by them. He said he is overlord of communal lands, not lands that are occupied by families. So in the research, which land is not occupied by any family? It is only in Warri Township that one finds communal land. That is after they use Wuru to get Agbasa land. So it is only Warri GRA. That is the only communal land they now have. If not, it doesn't exist. Good. It is only in Warri Township that one. So Ishekiri Communal Land Trust was founded for the purpose of grabbing Agbasa and Ogbujo land. That's what that trying to tell you. You know, it doesn't exist before. Now, he said, let you do. It is only in Warri Township that won't find communal land. The last Olu died 1848, isn't it? That time, Warri Township, they never come inside. So which means the culture was not there during the days of Olu Akengbuwa. The culture now started with Don Onuma because it doesn't exist outside of Warri Township. Good. In other parts of Warri division, land belonged to individual family. He said the Olu is known as Olaja, not Olale. That means the owner, that means that the Olu rules the people, not the land. He said it here. Don't me talk more. Good. Now, he said that Ugbori village is not in Warri Township area. That is where the palace is now. He said it's not in Warri Township. You know, I told you. I said, if you associate with Warri, your town with Warri, you will lose your land. He's trying to win this case now by first of all removing Ugbori from Warri, because Warri is not the only place where land is public, where land is communal. A land that was leased, Agbasa land and Ogbujo land was leased on behalf of the chiefs and people of Warri. Agbasa would have said, it means Agbasa is not in Warri. You see what they are trying to do? You know, I told you people, these people are crafty. He said Ugbori is not part of Warri Township. That a Ulofu family leases land to tenants. And the Ishekiri who owns land can lease the land without the consent of the Olu. In overlordship, you cannot do that. You cannot try it. That was why Olu took them to court for leasing land without his consent. I wanted to evict them, but he ran away. A Ulofu family did not obtain Olu consent before granting the lease is mentioned in the area of Ash Yellow in Exhibit 1. The Shekiri Communal Land Trustees have no rights over land, over family land. Egbe family leased their land to John Holt and got the full premium without paying any part to the defendant. The Imuere family also leased their land without the consent of the Olu. Omateye family also leased their land in Ajagbodudu without the consent of Olu and collect rent therefore for themselves. The Ogbe family also leased out their land without the consent of the Olu. The Dor family and the Egbebeye family also jointly leased their family land to John Holt without the consent of the Olu. So why Don Numa go say family now they get land? Don Numa himself say family now they get land. Say Don Shiton now. I have the case here when Don Numa's son went to court, say na papa na get land. Don Numa that say no land will belong to Olu. You see how they trick themselves. When the Shekiri Communal Land Trust came to Odogene that they want to sell land, Don Numa saw rebel that his father's land is family. I will come to that. Now, I belong to the Egbebeye family. The defendant later leaves the land to the host company. Now, so that we don't waste time, I just want to tell you round up. Now, he said there was mud house owned by one Orisadere of a Wulefu family of Ugbori on the site where Eremone's building is shown. We leased the place to Eremone. The Shekiri Communal Land Trust have not all these years interrupted our receipt of rent because these are land they leased before the Shekiri Communal Land Trust was formed. Because I want to go first title there now, they are trying to grab all of them again. Our receipt or rent from tenants are granted as leases. The place leased are not hidden places. In Shekiri history, has it that when Oluwakembuwa died, his sons began to vie for the kingship, and there was a fight among them. And one of the sons by name Omateye and his sister by name Iye drove away the other sons of the Olu. The brothers so driven away, led by Orishamone, organized themselves and drove Omateye and his group away, and the place of the Shekiri was deserted. Ewulofu and his group went to Usele to live. Usele is about 2 miles west of Ugbori village, west of Warri River. From Usele, Ewulofu went to find Ugbori. When he left Usele, he first settled on the land in dispute. He moved there with his children and slaves, and from there he went into the creek. The creek is called Onefife Creek of Ugbori Creek. Onefife was said to be a white spirit. Ewulofu built temporary houses on the land in dispute and dug ponds there. He cut mangrove woods and mountain materials there. He also dug clay there for making native pots. I know one Umukoro. He is alive. He is an Ugbori man. So when you now see an Ugbori man answering Umukoro, you now know that there is honorable infiltration inside. He lives at Ugbori. He's older than I am. In other words, this Umukoro will come to his story. He's even the Okpako, the Olaraja, the oldest man in Ugbori as at that time. I grew up to know him. I did not know Popo or Preja. He was an Ugbori man. I know his children. Popo or Preja's building is shown on Exhibit 1. My father died in 1935. Then, when my father was alive, the Public Works Department dug some Shikoko, solid swamp from the area. The land is dispute. My father challenged them and they paid £10 compensation to my father. There was some correspondence about the Shikoko. I tender this. Now, I will have to stop here so that we can go to the evidence of the next person. Now, what did he tell you now? He said they founded the land in dispute by reclaiming it from the swamp. They dug Shikoko leaf and clay pots and the rest. Princes. You know, if vacant land were anywhere, everywhere, with the Agbasa people, with the Ejeba people, with the Okerorobo people, if they were princes, children of Olu that enjoyed overlordship, is it not just to, Agbasa people, please give me this area? All those areas that they now later build houses, but they were not reclaiming swamp to stay, showing that they were latecomers, and they recognized that those if Agbasa people were paying them tenants, as in tenant cutting grass for them to stay in the place, they will not be recovering swamp for them to stay. Think. We'll continue in the next video. Thank you.